Welcome back to the weekend wrap. No production, just my thoughts. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, relative, associate, enemy, any and all in between. It's appreciated. Apologies, it's a little bit late tonight. I had a few errands I had to run and I decided to do those before the video. You know how it goes, so I can come home, do this, relax, go to sleep, get up, start a new day, etc. etc. But yeah, we're going to talk about, I think we'll start off on Friday, okay? Now, I did say at the start of the Basis Picks video that I know that Oslazer Glacius TKO'd Vladimir Shishkin in the 8th round. I still haven't seen the fight yet. I am very keen to see the fight. So, if anyone's got a link to it, it saves me having to search all over the net. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely get that to me so I can watch that and I can talk about it on the next live I do, which will probably be Tuesday this week. But if we go to the Free Arena in Dublin, which was on Friday night, it was headlined by Michael Conlan and Jack Bateson. And I think the chief support was Charlie Edwards and Salvador Suarez. Haven't seen any of the fights yet. Well, actually, that's a lie. I have seen the Conlan fight. It was only 4 rounds. Conlan got knockout in the 4th round, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Charlie Edwards got a unanimous decision. I predicted that on my predictions video. I mean, my predictions league. I didn't get a chance to talk about it in the video, but yeah, I did think that would happen. Obviously, there was a bunch of Irish fighters on the card. Again, I haven't really seen much of it, so I can't comment, but I do know it was on Channel 5. So I might go back and see if I can revisit, see what fights they showed and what fights they didn't. But the Conlan fight, look, it was what it was, to be honest. It was like a bit of a comeback fight for him. Jack Bateson wasn't necessarily a top level opposition, definitely in the mode of a bring back fight, bring along sort of comeback, shake off the cobweb, see if I still got it. And respect to Conley, he actually did a lot better than I thought. I thought he would win just a standard unanimous decision, but he was very aggressive in there from the start, which was pretty surprising. He got the big knockdown in the 4th round, and then as Bateson got up off of the floor, he started hobbling about and then ended up falling over the ropes, and the referee waved it off. So I don't know if on the way down he tweaked something or trying to get up he's tweaked something, but definitely like he injured his leg, which meant he was unable to continue. Referee waved it off. Fairly correct. And I guess Conlan's got an opportunity now to do something else. I mean, what that may be, not sure. I guess we can only just speculate, and I'm pretty sure we'll find out sooner rather than later. But yeah, congratulations, I suppose, is in order. I guess we'll say that. From there, let's move to the Matchroom card, which, well, I say the first of 2 Matchroom cards. Now, it was very much in the mode of a next gen. It was started off on the prelims. You had, TMA Ayton, Adam Macker. There was a new, what was the cruiserweight's name? Brad something. Brad, what was his name? Brad Casey. Yeah, that's what, was it Dangerous Brad Casey, they call him, or something like that? Anyway, he was facing a guy called Goran Kozol. It was a 4-rounder. It went to the points, but he got 2 knockdowns, I think, in the one in the 2nd round and one in the 4th. So he seems okay. He's in the same gym, I believe, as Leo Atang. They are sparring buddies. Casey's obviously cruiserweight, Leo's heavyweight, but I mean, you know how that kind of goes. Sooner or later, someone moves up. But it was a decent enough performance from there. I was looking more, obviously, for the, I was looking more for TMA Ayton, to be honest. Adam Macker, his performance was okay. I mean, he got another stoppage the same way as he needed to, but he did get hit quite quite a few times in this fight, which is not necessarily a bad thing if you want to make sure that he can actually take the shots, because he got clipped a couple of times. But also, I guess that was because he was trying to find and load up for the finish, which they always say, you know, when you go looking for the knockout, you run the risk of getting knocked out yourself. And that may be something he needs to tighten up on just a little bit moving forward. But the ability was definitely there, and you know, he's cool. Nothing special to me. Like they sort of rave about him. I haven't seen anything special of him yet, but he's a character, and he definitely talks like he's a special one. So let's wait and see. TMA Ayton, on the other hand, definitely I see a lot of talent and potential in there. Now, one thing that was quite interesting in this fight, she did get caught a couple times, but it was funny. Anytime that she got caught, she would adjust her guard. So I remember at one point she had sort of hand up, guard up here, and she may get grazed around the front of it, or maybe, you know, hit onto the guard. But then there was one or two times when the hand was down and she got clipped on one side of her face, and all of a sudden she used the guard now and used her lead. No, it was her backhand actually, to basically protect that side of the face, almost in like a cross guard Philly Shellish type mode. And she was constantly sort of switching the way that she would block and defend the shots, which I thought was quite interesting. Her 1-2s, whether it's a reverse 1-2 or a 2-1 as they call it, or her straight shots are vicious, and she gets real extension on the punches. Yeah, she busted up Biliach quite a bit in that fight. It was a 6-rounder, but she was definitely going for it. Knocked her down twice. Nose all busted up. Referee waved it off in the 4th round. Yeah, I like what I see from Tia. I just wanted to sort of carry on in that mode. She wants to be the youngest ever undisputed champion, on the women's code at least, in the 4-belt era. She just turned 19. And who was it? Gabriela Fondora did it at the age of 22. So she's got 3 years to do it. There's a possibility. That's what I'll say. There's definitely a possibility she could do it. She said she wants to be undisputed in bantamweight, super bantamweight, featherweight, and then super featherweight. So she said she wants to run through those 4 divisions. She's got the talent. Let's see if she can curate it and make sure that it sort of, you know, maturates nicely. But she's 19, which means that she's only going to get stronger. She's only going to get bigger. And the punching power is there. Obviously, we could talk about it's not necessarily the biggest level of opposition she's fighting at the moment, but the power's there, and she knows how to use it, which is a plus. So definitely keen to see what she does moving forward. Next, I think Cameron Vong was on there against who was it? Facunda Arce, Requiem Facunda Arce, something like that. It was kind of like a get back fight. He won on points. It wasn't anything special, but he did what he needed to do. This was basically just the fight before the fight, because he's should be fighting Gavin Gwynn in the rematch afterwards. Most people believe that Gwynn won the first fight. I can't remember I didn't score it properly that night, so I didn't really give a scorecard. But Vong was definitely he was fortunate. That's not to say that there's no way he could have won the fight, but he was definitely fortunate to get the decision. So they're running it back. We'll see what happens with that. Now, when the so the main broadcast started, it started with Sandy Ryan and Jay Grierson, and I actually missed the first round of this because I was driving back from somewhere. But when I finally got a chance to switch it on the TV, yeah, look, the same thing that I kind of predicted in the breakdown video, that neither girl is necessarily like super quick, but Jade is a very ploddy, one paced kind of woman, that she wants to be able to control the pace and the tempo, and I just didn't think Sandy would allow her to do that. And I said Sandy will have the skills to outbox her and make it a very comfortable night, but based on the conversation that they kind of had in the the press conference, I just thought Sandy might decide to go to war a little bit, because Jade was really talking about, I'm gonna pull it on you, and like, you don't understand how much this is gonna mean to me, and rare, rare. So I thought Sandy would get involved in a tear up and make the fight more competitive than it needed to be. Now, in the last couple of rounds, I think she did slightly, but she pretty much did what I thought she was capable of doing in the start, and she actually resisted the urge to just make it an all-out war, and she pretty much dominated Jade from start to finish. There was a couple times you would wonder if they would throw the towel in, not necessarily because she's getting super battered, but just because she's taking punch after punch after punch with no real way of winning the fight at that point. Do you just kind of save her for another day? But she went the distance. She was, competitive throughout, if not like majorly. She showed heart. She never wilted or looked for a place to lay down. So credit to her. And those 10 rounds could have done her a world of good. Who knows? So I'll reserve judgment on that. But as for Sandy, the commentary was really trying to push for her to go and face Lauren Price. She said that she can make anywhere between 140 to 154 at this point. And, she just wants whatever fights are presented to her. Now, I personally, I can see that the biggest fight, for her is actually the Chantel Cameron fight, because there is a big beef there and the rivalry set up. But Chantel doesn't look like she wants that fight. She could go up to 154. There's several big names at 154, at 147. I mean, yes, there is Lauren Price, but can they get Lauren Price to come over to the zone? Bearing in mind she is a boxer fighter. Although maybe did she have one of those Sky contracts? We don't know. The BBC deal, we don't know when their first fight's taking place. So she's another one that's kind of in limbo at the moment. So I guess we just have to wait and see. But Sandy Ryan did the job well. Leo Atang was next, and he fought Christian Yuaka. Again, it was another just sort of coming through, build a long fight, but he's definitely got the skills, he's got the movement fluidity. Knocked down Christian twice. I think he was going to knock him down for a third time, and the referee kind of waved it off. I haven't got a huge amount to really say about it. It was all in the first round. Leo's a good young prospect. Let him build, see what becomes of him. He's got everything to be a star. He's got looks, he's got a decent personality, non-threatening, which they love when it comes to certain demographic of fighters. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to see if he can sort of get it all into a nice media friendly package, and keep delivering in the ring when the tests start getting a little bit harder. But I've got a lot of positive praise. I've got a lot of time for Leo, so I hope he does well, and I wish him the best. Next, we have Mark Dickinson against Troy Williamson. Now, I did predict that Troy Williamson will win the fight, and I can't remember on the video if I said split decision or if I said he would grind out, but I think I said a split decision. And my biggest thing for that was because even though Dickinson basically didn't try to make the weight after a certain period of time, or maybe he did, I just felt because his conditioning didn't necessarily look the greatest, even though he may have an advantage early on with the extra weight and maybe not having to kill himself at the weight class, possibly. I felt that he would have a slight lack of conditioning towards the back half, and then we do know that Troy Williamson, if for nothing else, is very fit, very tough and durable, and can take a shot. And I just felt that he would just basically outwork and grind Dickinson down towards the back end of the fight, and basically just kind of take it on points. I didn't see him getting a stoppage, but the fact that Dickinson only had 2 KOs on the record, I mean, it's not necessarily out of the realm of possibility. And I think that's one thing that hurt him, because he actually caught punished Williamson with multiple counters, like clean shots, but just not having the right level of power. Plus the fact that Williamson has got a very, very good chin, probably one of the best in the UK right about now. It just all meant that ultimately, yeah, it just wasn't going to be his night. And it wasn't. It was finished with a beautiful left hook followed by a right hook combo. The left hook basically just, it switched the lights off from early, because the left hip caught him, the arms just dropped, just down by his side. He's like, huh? Kind of thing. Right hook comes in, unprotected, bang, straight down. He gets up, then he just ends up taking another straight right, and the referee jumps in before he's even given the opportunity to either try and throw back or before Williamson tries to throw anything else. I'm definitely not going to argue about the stoppage. It was what it was, and it was a good showing from Williamson at 168. Let's see if he can have maybe another run at things, and let's see what kind of selections we get. Obviously, shout out to Napa, who is the manager of Troy Williamson. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what moves and shakes with that. Last on this card was Pat McCormack versus Miguel Parra. McCormack was very good in this fight. There's not really anything I can say that to the detriment of that. He was really good, really composed, very silky, like sort of avoided a lot, glided out of range. The only slight criticism I may have is just that I felt like there was times he possibly could have stepped on the gas a little bit more, maybe just been a bit more aggressive, thrown a couple extra punches in a combination, not allowed Parra the moments to reset, because there were several times I feel like the referee was just ready to jump in, and you could have sort of sped that up had you just, decided not to be as safety first as he was, and just kind of went in just a little bit more for the kill. One extra shot here, a dip down there, and see what happens. But with that being said, Parra ended up being pulled out at the end of the 9th round, which is weird, because I understand obviously you don't want to see him take too much punishment, but on the other hand, if you want to kind of win if you want to have another fight maybe soon to kind of get the stench of this loss off, well, now you're going to have a medical suspension because you was retired, which technically ends up being like a TKO, like a knockout. So you get like I think it's a 90-day suspension from being able to compete in the UK. I think that's the case. And it's like, you allowed him to take 9 rounds of punishment. And I know this might sound mad to some people, but there's only 3 minutes left. Unless you really think that he's about to get himself seriously hurt, you might as well let him see out the fight. Because if you pulled him out at the end of the 9th, you could have pulled him out at the end of the 6th or the end of the 7th. It's like he's right at the finish line, kind of let him finish. But that's my opinion. I could be totally wrong, and maybe that's wrong of me to say. I'm sure if you're in the chat, you can let me know. But look, good performance from Pat McCormack. He's supposed to be looking at Conor Walker in his next fight for the British title. I think that'd be a hell of a fight. I'd look forward to that one. Shout out to Conor Walker, good guy. But yeah, that's pretty much it from there. Now, in terms of the Matchroom card that took place in Mexico, I tried to watch it on 2 occasions, the Nunez and Diaz fight. I've watched the bulk of it, or at least like a good chunk, but I fell asleep both times. Obviously, like it was late at night once, and the other time I was up early with the pup, and I was trying to watch it when he was asleep, and then I ended up falling asleep in my chair watching, but then I woke up towards the end. So I've seen enough of it, and I've seen the highlights as well. Nunez struggled. Probably it was expected. I expected him to get the KO, if I'm gonna be honest. I thought if Navarrete can take him out, you should be able to take him out as well. I was wrong. Again, because I haven't seen the whole fight, I can't necessarily comment on the whole fight, but I saw Nunez get hit clean on numerous occasions, especially in those later rounds when I guess Diaz was just biting down on the gumshoe, said, "All right, cool, let's go." He looked a lot visibly bigger than Nunez as well, which was interesting. But I guess you just got to say that if Diaz had a bit more power, Nunez could have been in big trouble because he was eating some clean shots, especially late on. He was doing some good work himself. Sometimes he was just trying to maybe out busy Diaz, but there's a lot of times I felt like the better work, especially, and the more consistent work was definitely coming from Diaz. So Nunez got to tighten up on a few things. Eddie says he could be, he could be the next biggest star in Mexico. Well, there is still Navarrete who is around. They did a face-off in the ring afterwards, so I guess there's a chance. Obviously, you can see that fight, but there is the Brian Suarez fight that Navarrete does have to have. He has to do that rematch. Maybe there's a chance they can look at a step aside for Suarez for the unification with him facing the winner of that fight is a possibility, I suppose. But I would definitely not mind seeing that unification. Although I do know that Ray Ford has been very vocal about, number one, wanting Nunez in the ring, and also being very critical of Eddie Hearn not necessarily being willing to make that fight. But he did say, look, I get it. I know Eddie, he pays more attention to his Mexican stable than the rest of us, because I guess obviously he feels like, well, Canelo's a big Mexican star in America. Mexican Americans are the lifeblood of the sport. They're the only ones who actually spend money. So in that sense, I guess business sense, it does make sense. But Ray Ford's there, and he definitely deserves an opportunity somewhere. So if you can't get him that one, you got to get him the winner of Foster and Fulton. Or you got to get him Lamont Roach, or get Lamont Roach to vacate that 130 title, and then see if Ford can fight for a vacant one. It's got to be one or the other, I think. He's had his, his 3 fights. I think he's had 3 fights now up at 130. It's about time he gets another title opportunity, especially considering the way he lost his title at 126. So I guess we just have to wait and see kind of what happens with that. But yeah, look, I'm going to leave it there. I think that's pretty much everything I remember. I know there was a Pro Box card that was on, I think, Friday night. I haven't seen it. There wasn't many people on the card that I do know off the top of my head, if I'm going to be honest. But it's on the YouTube, so I will go on Pro Box TV and have a watch. And if there are anything of note from it, I will talk about it in another video. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. As I said earlier, don't forget to like, subscribe and share, especially if you made it to the end of this video. You're a real one. I appreciate it. Also, again, another shout out to Sid and Josh, who I met at Ade and Friends with the green chair on Thursday. Big ups to you guys. And I think Renee was another one who was over there, and a few other people. So yeah, if, like I said, anyone who was there who we did speak and I haven't mentioned you, or you didn't give me a name, you put it in the comments and you can get a shout out on the next one, or maybe on the next live. But yeah, until then, catch you soon. Peace.